go ahead and clean this Teflon bearing out in case it's got any kind of debris inside of it, but normally these don't wear out either. The machine doesn't roll fast enough for it to wear anything out. So this is going to go back onto the end of the roll, and if it doesn't line up with the holes that we took it out of, then we're just going to move the screw up and down until it slides in there. It just did. Pretty close anyway. So this is going to go back on, and there's a keyway to make sure. Now one of the tricks here is if you get this on there really tight, it's going to make your hand crank hard to turn. So these need to lightly mesh together. So what I usually do is I put it on and then I just back it off slightly, and then I'm going to tighten the set screw up. And we're really not going to know for sure right away if we need to make a nip adjustment. We're going to do a visual check, but really you need to run material through the machine to find out if everything's in balance. Take a look into the gap where the roller comes together, and we're just going to raise this side a little bit so where we can see a crack of light there. You see it? And if you look on the other side, do you see the crack of light all the way across? All right, and so if I bring this back down, it should kind of go away all at the same time too. So just slide it in there, and once you reach the other side, it's going to stop on you, and you're going to have to get it lifted up on the other end, and I'll show you how to do that. So you'll come to a point where you hit what they call the journal, which is the metal part that's sticking out the end of the roller. Yeah, and so what we're going to do is we'll use a paper towel, and we're going to be careful, but you just lift up slightly on that roller and move it left and right on the other end, sort of like a sword. You're moving it, and eventually you'll come to the opening, and then we'll push it on through, and then we can reconnect the brackets that hold it in. There's a flat spot in the grommet, Nick, that matches up to a flat spot on the roller, and it's facing down. All right. So we'll just slide that on. There's a little stop on the heater that'll get it in the right position. And we want to make sure these are good and tight. All right, and then we're going to reconnect the electrical connections on both sides. Now, it's important to make sure there's a washer first, then you've got the connector, another washer, and a nut. It's important to have this pretty tight, because if you have a loose connection, this is fairly high amperage, about 10, 12 amps coming through that wire. If you have a bad connection, it's going to arc and basically cause the connection to fail. So we want to make sure that we get that nut on there good and tight. We don't have to go crazy and break the heater, but you do want that tight, and then we'll just replace the ceramic end that protects it. Now that we're done with the nip adjustment, is to put this protective end. But Nick, did you remember to back that gear off just a little bit?
I did.
Okay. If you didn't, and you had this gear on too tight, what's going to happen is when you go to operate the hand crank when you're using the machine, it's going to sound like it's got rocks in it. And so if you find that that's happening to you, whether or not it's after a roller change, it can be after doing the adjustment as well, that you may just have that gear on a little bit too tight. What we're going to do now is put some material on and do some testing. Once we get everything we feel comfortable with how it's lined up, we'll put the covers back on and start back using it again.